these 4 plays by Paul Espel, obviously he had a huge influence on you. What was his influence? Why name these 4 vignettes for him?
Well, he's yeah, there are some times in people's lives as an actor, I gravitate to writers that I understand. Like, for example, Arthur Miller. Any one of Arthur Miller's plays that you can give me or show me, I know exactly what he's writing about for each of his characters, because I'm in tune. I'm in tune with that. When I met Paul, he started bringing me into his apartment to read his monologues and then read his shows, and I immediately tuned right into what he was doing with each of the characters and why. On his untimely death a few years ago, I was left with all of his wife gave me mostly all of his writings. So I decided to do one of these shows after the Heights Players asked me to direct it, and I picked 4 vignettes that I really enjoyed. And on the outset, the vignettes or the plays, they're about 11 minutes long. They're really not long at all.
Oh,
But
that was quick. Yeah.
yeah, but they show for a little snippet of somebody's life. But what ended up happening is, as I was directing the actors, we grew these characters so exponentially, and all the actors in the show just took it by themselves to add layers and layers and layers and layers to the character, and it came out pretty nice.
And that can be its own challenge when you only have 11 minutes to tell a story and to connect with people and make sure that they walk away affected by it. That's actually, it's harder than you would think for 11 minutes. So how did you guys approach this? And when you talk about, the actors and adding layers to these characters, that's also a fine line to not overdo it, because you don't want to put in so much in these 11 minutes that you're almost overdoing it. So how did you dive deep to make sure that people connected with these stories, but also, gotta wrap it up?
Well, I gotta wrap it up. I'm sure. I mean, each of the characters has something going on in their lives.
Yeah.
Maybe either isolationism or desperation, something about their lives that happened or that they're still thinking about. And basically, every time I rehearsed each of the vignettes, each of the plays, it kind of we kind of expand on everything.
Mm,
On each of the characters. By the way, 2 of the plays won national awards
that's
for
awesome.
Paul. Art of War and Bill. They won awards for Bill for Paul during his lifetime. And I was in one of the plays that when we did it at the Village Gate, which was such a long time ago, and it was a one-act festival. We won that one-act festival also. So he was quite an accomplished writer. I'm excited to finish this up, and I'm writing up another script of his right now, and I'm gonna try to get another stage reading for it, and maybe it's a full production, maybe get it going again.
And the themes that you talked about, isolation and desperation, is there something to the world that we're in right now that those themes specifically, you're like, this is a really good time to explore these themes, and this is something where I think more people than not are probably really connecting with those feelings because of everything that's going on right now?
Well, I believe so. And
Mm,
in these 2 of the shows, there are just people of poor means, and they're trying to break out,
yeah.
and that's it's what's going on now in our world. But it's they're meaningful productions, meaningful characters, and the actors they were superbly they superbly created the roles and brought meaning to every little nuance that we could experience within the rehearsal time.
So let's talk about the cast a little bit. Who's in this show, and why did you feel that they were the perfect person to take on that role?
I usually do. We usually have auditions, but I from directing at the Heights Players for the longest time, and knowing most of the people at the Heights Players and in my own world, I chose actors that that I knew would fit the role and would be perfect for the role in the beginning, and expand the role for the for the entire show, and just get into it. The one of the shows name is Bill. It's a father and son, and I actually have a father and son in the show, and their reaction to each other, and we all knew, those two actors also knew Paul, so it's like a tribute to them, tribute to him, that we're
Yeah.
bringing it in. And Carol, his wife is overjoyed that we're bringing this to life, and she's so excited about it, and she can't wait to see it.
I love that you have an actual father and son, and they play father and son, I'm assuming, and they took
Yes,
that. So
they took.
that automatically has got to add so much, because there already is that feeling of familiarity and of years of relationships, that now that's settled. You don't have to make that, you don't have to build on that. That's there for you already, which is
that,
great.
that that play, that particular one with the father and son, I wasn't even going in the direction when I first read it. I said, "Oh, this could be good, this could be good." But then when we started reading each of the little monologues that are in the play,
Yeah.
and I said, "Oh, this is what's going on. Look, this A, B, and C is going on. We'll take a look at this." And both the father and the son realized what was happening, and they they did a really good job with the show.
And this is not your first time directing, but you're also an actor as well. And this is something that I always find interesting when you have actors that direct, and vice versa, maybe people that started out directing and then got into acting, is an understanding of both sides of the camera and what it's like to be in front of it and have to pull your emotions out to connect with the audience, but also when you're a director and knowing a vision that you have, and how to get people to bring that vision to life the way that you saw it. So do you think that that has helped you? What, when you're sitting there and you're talking to your actors about performances, do you kind of put yourself and be like, all right, let's just talk actor to actor for a second so I can tell you where I need you to be? Is that how you sort of approach when you talk to your cast?
I'm an actor's director because
Mm.
I'm an actor, and I've been trained by the method, whatever that means, method. So I'm into realism, and it just go from through my whole life's training. So every show that I've directed at the Heights Plays, I've given the actors ample time, ample room to take the journey and grow the character. And I never really said I would do it this way. I always said, well, what do you think about this, and what do you think about this, and let's rehearse it that way, and let's go in that direction. And maybe I'll like it, maybe I won't like it. The worst case scenario is we pull it back and we say, no, we don't like that direction. In one of the shows in Bill, one of the shows, I told one of the actors to bring something very personal to the set. Although he never takes we never see it. It's something that added to his character, and just kind of
Yeah.
made his feelings come through.
Yeah, sometimes that physical something that has emotions tied to it, it also helps you, again, in these or 10, 11 minutes. So, you don't have the time to really expand. It's everything is compressed into these short vignettes. So having something that immediately can get you in that headspace because that emotion is tied to a physical object is super helpful. I mean, it's
Yeah,
just like costuming, right? Certain costumes automatically put you in a certain frame of mind, and a certain change the way you walk, and those little things just help immensely into getting into character. Was there a story that personally for you connected with the most out of these four?
out of these four, well, I was in one of them, but the one that I connected with the most, one that I really loved from the beginning when I read it, and is the one with the father and son in it.
Mm,
That's the one that's the one I want. And what I really want to happen is I want to record this outside and send it to a competition, because I think it's that powerful.
that's awesome. Wow. And now, is that something where, do you see these four plays and you think, I would really like to take this and do it again, but with a live audience? I mean, is there a change that you made to how you directed it and your vision for this because it was being filmed? And you're like, okay, we're going to do it this way because obviously this is a whole different way to bring theater to people. So we'll create the show in this vision, but if we can ever bring it to an audience, this is how I see it.
I think I would probably do the same as Kareem was my stage manager and my
Mhm.
assistant director, and my friend, and we went through this learning stage from the beginning of the Heights Players to now. It's like we want to show the theater, want to tape a theatrical production, not a film. We want,
Mhm. Mhm.
we want the audience to see it as if it would be on the stage. So I after X amount of time with rehearsals, and when we got into the theater, I started blocking for my cameras. That's when my director's image goes away, my actor's director, and I say, no, you can't move 2 steps left. I got a camera on you. I got a tight
Right.
shot on you. So and we did a really nice job in bringing that forward and bringing that to fruition. And now we have to edit it the right way, and it should be. I'm optimistic that it will be very, very nice.
And within a month, people will be able to enjoy it and see exactly what you're talking about because they are coming out in April. Let's go back to you a little bit and how you got involved in theater and in acting. And now you've obviously been involved in theater and in acting and directing for so long. Are there moments that stick out for you that you always think back as, oh, this play really changed me, or this scene changed me, that affected you so much at the moment that you saw it?
Oh yeah, when my first play at the Heights Players was 12 Angry Men, and
Mhm.
that was for me that was a magical time for my character. I played the antagonist, juror number three. That was the Lee J. Cobb role in the film. But I didn't watch the film until after the show. But I hooked into that. It was a wonderful experience. It's just magical when you know that your character comes to life and you feel it. Just a magic situation. And that point that was the first play I ever did at the Heights, and I just keep on going back to get some good stuff at them when they produce it, when they direct it. I go for good auditions.
I love the Heights. Yeah, it feels like a family there, and it also really does feel like when you're putting on these productions, you're putting on a solid show, and it's so nice, and it's also that rush of like everybody being involved and helping each other out, and just there's something about live theater that is a very big adrenaline rush because you're living it out in front of people in the moment, and whatever happens happens, and it's
Broadway show.
and how important I think, especially community theater now, really and the way that the Heights Players is reinventing the way that theater is brought to people, the fact that we're doing taped versions so that people can still watch it. It's so nice to still have the community part of the community theater in there where people can buy their tickets and we can discuss it on the Facebook page and still feel like we're a part of something together, because that's one of the beautiful things about when you see a show is that you're all experiencing it together in that moment, and that moment will never happen again. It doesn't matter how many times the show is on stage. When it happens that night, it's only going to happen that way that night.
Yeah, I think you can continue doing this, recording stuff for virtual recording plus live theater. I mean, you can probably do both
Yeah.
because it doesn't really interfere with each other, and you can extract some time to do it.
Too. And going back to Four Plays of Paul Espel, which is coming out in April, that you can buy tickets online at the Heights Players. It's $10, which is super affordable. What do you hope people walk away from? Get it, what do you hope they walk away from, or what are you hoping to give to them with these four plays? Is there something that you're hoping to instill them with?
Oh, I think the audience is going to have a lot of different ideas about what these characters are about and what their lives are about. So I think it's going to be there's going to be a lot of questions, and they have to answer. Especially in a couple of the plays, they have to answer. Whether it's what's going on, what's the next step going on in
Right.
that person's life. But it's totally an audience play.
I'm so excited. I'm so excited to see these. We have just about a month. They'll be out in April. Joe, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me and to tell everybody about them. One more, is there anything before we go that you would like to say about either Paul or these stories that we haven't talked about yet?
No, I think again, Paul was a great. I think he was a wonderful writer. That his life ended too short, but
Mm.
I think his energy is within theater and within me, because I've got his works, and I'm constantly looking at them, and I think I'm gonna bring something successful to live stage or film.